Welcome to the New England Endurance Podcast, where we celebrate the thriving endurance sports scene in New England. I'm your host, Art Trapotsis, and today we're talking about gravel cycling in New England, and particularly in the Boston area. And today I'm joined by the co-founders of Gravel Boston, an organization dedicated to hosting gravel rides around the Boston area for all levels of riders. And today we have Alex Land, Director of Operations, and a man who just finished Unbound XL 2024, a 350-mile gravel race in Kansas. And then we have Matt Russo, the visionary behind Gravel Boston. What's up, gents? Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
It's great to have you. I'm excited to talk about gravel, get the story out there. But first off, I have to clear the air on a couple of things. So Gravel Boston is different from Boston Gravel, which
Correct.
is another cycling group on Instagram, and also Boston Cross, which is a cyclocross team from the early 2000s, and also different from Boston Sand and Gravel, which is a supplier of all things concrete.
Yes, we supply no concrete.
So Matt, tell us about Gravel Boston and why you guys started it. Like, what's the vision here?
Yeah, so there was a couple of us that were working at the Cycle Loft, and there became a need for a Sunday group ride. And gravel bikes were getting popular, but not necessarily commonplace like they are today. So it was basically an excuse to get out on a Sunday morning, and we started riding at the Bedford Depot, and we'd get, 5, 10 guys, it'd start like that. And then Alex started joining because of we were riding together a lot. And then it just sort of evolved. And I said, one day, I wonder if gravelboston.com is available. And it is. So I registered it for $12.99 like GoDaddy. And that's it. We started the Strava group, and it's literally snowballed since.
And when was this?
2018?
Yeah, somewhere.
Oh,
around
wow.
there.
Okay, so pre-pandemic.
It was, yeah. Well, we started riding during the pandemic, actually, because nobody was.
Yep.
And it was a small group. It was only a couple of us. And then coming out of it was when we started getting kind of serious about the group.
Excellent. Alex, so what's the message you guys are trying to spread here, and how are you building community in New England?
I think that anybody can ride gravel. It's an inclusive sport. We kind of accept all riders at different skill levels, and we try and work together to make everybody have a good time together. We're a social organization, not a race organization.
Oh, I like that. So how does someone get involved with Gravel Boston?
Simple. We ask that you just register on Strava, just go into the groups and just join Gravel Boston, and then some interaction. We don't just ask that you just join and kind of sit in the cut. And which a lot of people do, and we get that because of life schedules, children, families, all these things that prohibit people from just getting out every single Sunday. But the best part is when they do show up, and I say to myself, man, that guy's been he or she's been a member for a long time now. I've always wondered about so and so, and here they are shaking my hand. It's really cool,
Do you guys distinguish between gravel riding and mixed terrain riding?
I think one is one in and of another, right? Because you could vary it, right? You could say, okay, we did 50% gravel and 50% road today or whatever. It was mixed, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Well, so I sort of kind of think that mixed terrain has to do with, a little bit more rocks and roots. Like the traditional gravel, when I think about that, is sort of the Vermont classic gravel, this sort of smooth dirt road. But around here, around the Boston area, I feel like it's a lot more the mixed terrain.
Sure.
Yeah, we do a lot of single track, a lot of rocks and roots, and kind of accept what we have and make it into gravel. So.
Yeah, you have to accept what you have because we're in the Boston area, and I don't think many folks know that there are all these little hidden nuggets of trails in this trail system, like the Lexington Greenway. What's your bread and butter sort of loop? What are some of the names of some of these, trails that you're riding on?
We go through Battle Road in Minuteman National Park a lot. The Reformatory Branch and the Narrow Gauge in Bedford, those are both gravel rail trails. It's a good option. We do a lot in Concord, like Estabrook Woods and Great Brook Farm and Carlisle. And there's kind of bits and pieces that you can put together, turn single track into a gravel ride.
Yes, I've been on all those, and you're right. Some of it's a mix of gravel, some of it's that more gnarly single track, but not too gnarly where you need a mountain bike. You just need to maybe go over those areas a little more cautiously. Do you guys run an event, or is there sort of one standout event that you guys do each year that you want people to show up on? I know I went to an event that seemed like it was bigger than normal with maybe 30 or 40 riders, but is there one that's on your calendar that we should get on our calendar?
The Sunday rides. Show up for a Sunday. It's just a good social time. We do
And
somewhere.
what time is that? Where does it happen, and what's the
We
distance?
depart 9 a.m. from the cycle loft in Burlington. We do somewhere between 15 and 25 miles, up to maybe 2 hours, a little bit more, depending on conditions and who shows up and what we want to do for that day.
So we can just show up at Cycle Loft. There's no membership fee.
Nothing.
Free to run.
It's free.
Yeah, it's free.
We will never charge people to ride with us.
So how do you guys make sure that, you're being inclusive? It sounds like, number one, no cost. Number two, just show up. Like, how are you ensuring the inclusivity part of it if someone's like super new to gravel or dirt riding?
It's challenging. We have to make some efforts, right? So some of these people need to be one-on-one, right? You want to make sure that they feel welcome, and you want to make sure that you identify who they are and maybe even some of their abilities.
So one of you guys will hang back and...
I try to do more of that. Alex is obviously a lot faster and usually kind of leads the fast group and sort of keeps everybody like in check.
Yep.
And then we usually have me or Anthony that will sweep, right, and kind of keep things.
And who's Anthony for the listeners?
Cycle Loft. Yeah, Anthony's a long time. Anthony Lascaris is a long time Cycle Loft co-owner, manager, whatever, and has almost 50 years of cycling experience. He's just a legend.
Awesome. I do know Anthony, and he is a legend.
Yeah.
How do you guys ensure safety and preparedness for the riders on your group rides?
Yeah, safety is up to each person on their own, right? We just ask that the guys in the back are watching their wheels and being within their limits, and then the guys in the front are trying to keep their eye on the guy in the back, right?
Yep.
It's kind of a brotherly, whatever, sisterly. We just need to be all riding as one, but we need to keep, groups of about 10 or so, and then we need to make sure that those groups are matched fairly well, ability-wise.
Yep. So you might break up the group. If there's 30 people that show up, you might have groups of 10 or 12, perhaps?
Yeah, we try to do that, yeah.
Okay. How do folks find out? We mentioned 9 o'clock at Cycle Loft on Sundays. Are there other rides you're doing during the course of the week, and how would we find out? Is it just joining the Strava Club? Is it also the Instagram page?
Yeah, both. So Alex puts together typically one Saturday adventure ride a month. I believe that was one of the ones that you came on.
Yes.
And those are usually themed, right? We try to do the cider donut ride in the fall.
I love donuts.
Right? We do a coffee ride. I'm super proud of the coffee ride. We make coffees in the woods.
What?
Yep. We don't go get them at a coffee shop. We bring the stove. We bring the beans. We grind them.
That's cool.
It's so fun.
That's awesome.
And it was raining last year, and it just made it all that much more fun.
Okay, so if I wanted to find out about that ride, then I would go to the Gravel Boston Instagram page.
Yeah, we would mention it there, but also on Strava, we put that ride on the monthly calendar.
And
So
what's the name of your Strava group?
it's Gravel Boston.
Gravel Boston, all right.
Yeah, we have about almost 800 members now. And again, that's some people who may have never ridden with us, and that's some people who show up every weekend.
Oh, nice.
So it's pretty cool.
Do you have any community partners?
Aside from the Cycle Loft, not really. I mean, we've tried to do some things with NEMBA. We do a lot of trail maintenance and stuff around the places where we do ride, especially landlocked forests and stuff like that when it gets a little messy. But not as many as we'd hoped for.
So I am familiar with landlocked forest. To me, that sounds like, or to me, it feels like a mountain bike area. Are there sort of mixed terrain gravel trails in there?
The same ones that you would be doing on your mountain bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not too techy, though?
It can be. Alex does a lot better at it than I do. I'm getting better at it, but I don't crash as much as I nearly used to.
Oh, boy. What's the long-term vision for Gravel Boston? What do you see, 2 or 3 or 4 years out? What are you hoping to accomplish?
Just more community growth. We've got so many great clubs around the area. Boston's such a cycling rich neck of the woods. We've got the Rippers. We've got Keep It Tight Cycling. We've got the Monsters. I mean, I ride with the Monsters. I pay the CRW to ride with them.
Yep.
I love all these clubs. I think they're great clubs. They include great people. And, not to say I go poaching other riders, but I just love to grab people who fit the mold of what we're trying to accomplish and what we do, because it just works. So many cool people have come from these other clubs.
I do feel like there's a lot of cross-pollination in the Boston area. Like
Sure.
I'm the founder of Keep It Tight, but I do a lot of riding with the Rippers. I've ridden with the Monsters. I've ridden with you guys. Like there's, and I love that about the community here. That's part of the reason why we started the podcast, is because to learn about all these groups, but also to let folks know that it's not a problem if you want to hop on someone else's group ride.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like you guys are part of that community now, which is fantastic. Alex, what advice would you give someone new to gravel riding who wants to get involved with Gravel Boston or just start riding?
Just do it. Don't question it. Just go out, ride what feels good. Find some stuff along the way that challenges yourself and push your limits. Keep going.
So I was thinking the other day, I'm riding up the bike path, the Arlington Minuteman bike path, heading towards Lexington, and there's a couple of little trails off of the bike path that are dirt. I'm sure you've ridden them. And, I was with someone that was sort of a newbie cyclist. We had a bike. We were riding bikes with fatter tires, so they weren't quite gravel, but they were 32s. We said, hey, let's just go and adventure off the trail. And that's sort of, and when we finished with that person said, hey, are there more trails like this around here? And the answer is yeah. I mean, so those are some of the trails you guys ride.
That's literally the spirit of gravel right there. Just making that dude smile because he didn't expect that.
The spirit of gravel is not dead.
You just said it. It's it. It's really it, man. It's that guy showing up, like I said, who has been been liking stuff on Instagram. He's maybe even reached out to Alex once or twice, and he just finally showed up and said, I'm doing it today. It's magical.
Thoughts on cyclocross as it pertains to Gravel Boston?
None of us technically are racing cyclocross. We've got a lot of guys who have joined the club and have said, oh, cyclocross is right up our alley. We do have a couple guys, there's a couple, Dave and Hal both race.
But you're not going out there practicing cyclocross.
Well, no, we do. We've got a couple really good spots. You probably know Springsbrook Park.
Where is that?
That's in Bedford, next to the VA, where there's
yes.
a nice flow trail. Then there's some soft sand.
So will you run a training ride if folks want to do cyclocross with you? Or you?
Yeah, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, we suggest that anybody who's going to join us and their intentions are cyclocross, just let us know, because we will throw little loops in there that will let them practice. And we have one spot that's just completely tight corners in Bedford.
Oh, very nice.
It's perfect. It's for a guy who wants to race cyclocross off camber. It's lovely.
Okay, to each of you, what are some of the hidden gem events in New England, gravel or not, that you could recommend to our listeners?
VTMonster.
The VTMonster.
B2VT. Those guys are cool. They're good people.
Are those two different events you just mentioned?
It's the same folks. They put it on together. They put them on in tandem. Last year I did support for the B2VT. I drove my car, slapped a sticker on my door, and I changed about 2,700 tires.
Wow.
It was crazy. No, more like 30.
So the B2VT is a road event.
The road event.
And then the VTMonster is the equivalent gravel event?
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, both those are good events.
What about you, Alex?
I'd say if you want, just looking to get into it and try it out and have a fun time that's not a race, the Raid Rockingham and the Gravel GRVL series is a really great place to try it out and have fun and have a social experience.
I've heard great things about Raid Rockingham. That is, I believe, in New Hampshire?
Newmarket, New Hampshire.
Newmarket, New Hampshire. Okay.
And then on the other side of the spectrum, Rasputitsa, it's a good time, but it's a race.
Rasputitsa has
it's a
been
timed
mentioned
race.
Yeah.
many times on this
It's tricky.
podcast.
It's tricky.
Yeah. So, Alex, I can't let you go without asking about Unbound XL.
Oh, yeah.
So this giant gravel race you did in Kansas, I mean, so you finished.
I finished, yeah. 26
Congratulations.
hours and 45 minutes. So
6 hours and 45 minutes?
26 hours.
26 hours and 45 minutes.
Yep.
Did you sleep?
No.
Oh, my God. How do you prep yourself for something like that?
Ride your bike, and ride your bike.
Like, are you doing a series of 100-mile road rides? Like, what's sort of a typical training week leading up to it?
I do a lot of 100-mile gravel mixed terrain rides. Spending 100 miles on mixed terrain is really good body training.
Wow.
Support a lot after that.
Do you do any, just curious, do you do any strength training throughout the year to prep your body for that?
I strength train 2 or 3 times a week all through the year.
Like squatting, full body?
Yep, squats, deadlifts, bench press, the whole powerlifting routine. It
That's
really
awesome.
makes you solid for that type of all-day endurance.
Well, congratulations on finishing that. I don't know anybody who's finished that in my personal circle of friends, so I consider you one of my personal circle of friends now. So congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Do you guys have any strong opinions about electric gravel bikes showing up on your rides?
I think they're good.
Yeah.
They get more people riding, and those people ride further and faster, and that's fun for everybody. As long as they're keeping it within their limits and they're being safe, they're more than welcome to join.
And were you going to say something?
It just keeps the pack together, right? Because I think most of those people have identified, like, maybe that if they were to come out and ride on a normal bike, they wouldn't necessarily be able to hang,
Yeah.
right? So maybe it's just keeping the pack a little tighter. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. Nice. Very inclusive. I'm also of the opinion, especially in the last few years, that electronic bikes are okay. Like there's a reason why folks are riding them. You're right. Maybe they can't hang. Maybe they have a heart issue. Maybe they can't get their heart rate up. So it's fantastic that those came on the market and made it more inclusive for folks to get involved with cycling.
Yeah, I like to see the one where it's not necessarily husband or wife, but I like to see the one where it's like husband can't keep up with wife because she does 7 triathlons a year, but they just want to ride together.
Or maybe,
It's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Are you guys both from New England? I forgot to ask.
I was born in Massachusetts.
Yeah. What about you?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Ooh.
Newmarket, New Hampshire, where the raid Rockingham
New
is.
Hampshire boy right here as well. Tell us why you agree that New England is the greatest region in the country for endurance sports.
The climate, going outside on a day like today is just so much air to breathe. I don't know. It's that seasonality too that says, oh man, I can't wait for the spring, or I can't wait to just get out there. And we ride all year.
Yeah,
That's
what
don't stop.
toughens us up.
Yeah.
Right? Would you agree?
Yeah, New England's a great place to ride, and we have a really diverse range of different things you can ride on: gravel roads and single track mountain bikes, mountains, beaches, everything in between.
Yep. Those are sort of some of the answers we're getting from our podcast guests. It is the greatest region in the U.S., possibly the world. So is there anything else you guys would like to share with your listeners? Get out there, plug any information about your organization you'd like to share?
One thing is definitely FastCat, the cycling app. It's a training app, and Alex can speak in depth about like how it works and stuff like this. But it's pretty cool, and they reached out to us about working with us and possibly having their logos on our jersey next year, which is really cool.
So what is FastCat?
FastCat's an app, and it's a training app. And what it does is it runs sort of in tandem with Strava. It talks to all your external devices and generates a plan based on what you are asking in return, right? Like in other words, Alex would have gone in and typed, I'm training for a 350-mile gravel race, and it would itemize.
And it would have said, you're crazy.
Yeah, basically.
You need to train 35 hours a week.
Exactly, yeah.
So is it like a Training Peaks?
Kind of, yeah. It's headed up by a guy named Frank Overton. He's a longtime training cyclist.
I've heard of Frank, yep.
Yeah, the big cat. Now
I get the connection on the name.
Exactly, yeah. So it's really cool. We're ecstatic. I've been using it, but Alex has been using it like really in depth, and he's kind of got his own, as you can tell, training plan figured out. So he's kind of running them in tandem together and seeing how they're.
We'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
Anything you
cool.
want to mention, Alex?
Not really. Just come out for a ride.
Absolutely. And just refresh. So what is your Instagram handle?
At Gravel Boston, and mine personal is MR Shreds 1.
MR Shreds 1. And Alex?
I'm Alex Willand.
Alex Willand. I'll post these in the show notes. I think folks listening should get out there and try one of the Gravel Boston events. They're super chill and very fun, and you get to hit all of the trail systems within 128, which is the highway surrounding Boston. Y'all venture out beyond 128 as well, and you find all the little nuggets in Billerica and Burlington and Concord and Carlisle, and it just opens up your whole repertoire of what's in your bag and where you can ride. So I highly recommend it. Alex and Matt, thank you so much for being on the New England Endurance Podcast and sharing your story about Gravel Boston. I love what you guys are doing out there and building community and hosting these rides. We're going to tag you on Instagram. On our Instagram, which is at New England Endurance. So until next time, get out there, hit the trails, hit the road, whatever it is your specialty or your interest, and explore the beautiful terrain of New England.